Really excited today. We have the brand new CVP
805.
and we have the old CVP
705.
And you guys asked, you wanted to see them side by side with the voices carrying over. Which one sounds better? Are there new sounds? Are there new samples? We're going to find out today.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
And I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. I know it's a lot, but we love to interact with you guys. We're piano nerds just like you. Ted, the Clavinova series, it's something we've looked at a couple times. There's the CLP series, there's the CVP series, there's the CSP series. It's a lot of acronyms that is an arguing point online even. People don't know what CVP stands for.
CVP?
Yeah,
That's a great place to start this video.
I think so.
Clavinova Versatile Piano.
So the 705 has 100 less versatiles than the 805? No, just kidding.
It depends on how you define versatiles.
Just kidding. But the CVP is one of the most, I think, creative instruments there is on the market. There's a whole bunch of cool things that you can do with it, all the way from the style elements to the voices, to the songs, to the following the lights, to the touch screen that's on this 805 and the 809. You've been around Clavinovas for a long time. Was this where you thought the technology was going?
This is something that I dreamed of in like a science fiction movie from like the 70s. But now, this is one of the most creative instruments anyone in the world could own. It's still listed as one of the top 50 or 100 gadgets in the world to own. And that's because it's the ultimate creative thing for a piano player or a musician. You can sit down and invent something, and you can capture it and record it, or you can go to it with something already invented and completely produce it. You could completely produce a movie soundtrack, a song from beginning to end. It's got 16-track MIDI studio. You can layer voices, and then you can record live off of that as well. But it will not retain, it's not an audio recorder, it will not retain vocals or any of the background harmony parts that are in there. But when it's playing and it's going out the left and right channel, you can record it. And they're awesome. Phenomenal piano sounds, phenomenal action, layering, voices.
And I think it became very accessible when they brought in the touchscreen. That's something that was in the last few models, the CVP line, very popular because it calls you in a different way. So there's the screen right there where you can have quick access to, and then there's the buttons.
I actually think the touchscreen was the thing that actually broke out the instrument, because up until then you had the side buttons that went along with it, and that confused like a lot of people that were church musicians. You had a lot of seniors, and it was difficult to look at working. But once it became touchscreen, everybody in the world knew instantly, I can work that. You just hit whatever you want and follow the instructions.
Yeah, so the CVP805, a great addition to the line. It is the new version of the 705. There are some major differences, and we wanted to kind of touch those here, literally touch, because the Grand Touch is the new action on the 805, big upgrade from the 705. The Grand Touch came into play on the CLP685, and it was just a home run. It felt
wooden keys
with longer keys than ever. Really an amazing feeling instrument, the CLP685. They've brought it into the 805, the CVP. It's a really amazing. We've had piano teachers trade in acoustic pianos just
for the action.
Mm-hmm. And so you get a longer key. What does a longer key do? It allows more pivot point. You have more control over your keystrokes. And so that's something that you guys won't be able to experience today, but I did want to point that out because it's a huge upgrade.
Well, when you take that upgrade in the change of just the action, and then you mix it with the new sound card and the binaural sample that they have in there, it just really brings this instrument to life over its predecessor.
Yeah, and so the binaural sample is a huge upgrade as well. So the Yamaha CFX, their 9-foot concert grand, is one of the best sounding pianos in the world. There's very few of them to play, so if you're looking to play one, on a Clavinova might be the only time you have access to it. It's really cool. And you have it as a binaural sample. So binaural technology is recording where your ears would be. So basically what they do is they put a very high quality microphone that looks like a head where your head would be if you were sitting in front of that 9-foot piano, and they do an amazing recording of that. And it's really important to experience this with headphones. If you go to a local dealer and you are trying out the Clavinova line, I think it's very important to put on headphones and say, whoa, I'm in front of a 9-foot concert grand right now. I'm the pianist on the stage playing this. And they've done really cool things like the piano room. That's going to be on both of these models, but the 805 adds the session mode. So we're going to show you guys the session mode. And also it really brings you in. It's a cool sample to have that 9-foot grand binaural sample made for where your ears are going to be in front of that piano. Just super amazing.
And the Bosendorfer sampled the same way as well too.
So the Bosendorfer also is just a very high quality instrument. They brought in the CFX and the Bosendorfer on the 700 series, and they've continued that into the 800 series. I also like the design element. So we were looking at these two models side by side. We have the polished ebony version here of the 805, and we have a satin black on the 705. But the actual designing and the layout, you're gonna have a brushed steel frame where all your buttons are and where all your control points are. Just a very nice, sharp look, a little bit more well-constructed than the predecessor on the 705 where it was made out of plastic. And I know there was a couple issues. We saw a couple sometimes come back when there's damage that can happen on a plastic fall board.
Right.
And so the steel one is just amazing. It looks beautiful. It's brushed. They also changed the buttons. The buttons are a little bit smaller profile, and there's lights actually on each individual button instead of a light that's next to a button. So you guys will see that on the close-ups. Just a little bit design modifications that make it easier for access. It's really important to have those buttons, and I think you touched on this earlier. When people are playing in churches or on the stage, it's easy to recall something very quickly.
Absolutely. You can store your settings if you have a split keyboard, or maybe this is strings and this is piano, and then you need another one to where this is organ and this is choir. Those settings are all the way across in different banks. You have an unlimited amount of settings. You can go in there for each song, even during the song, and change it. And I've gotten to where I've done some of that. But you mentioned the piano room, and that's one of my first to go check out. You hit piano room, and it's like you can instantly just sit down and play a piano, electric piano, and have a band join you if you want, or just a drummer and a bass player.
It's really cool because you are able to hit those buttons and just recall back to a piano, or hit the button and change voicing. Sometimes people ask me, why don't we just have a touch screen? The CSP is the touch screen controller. And so sometimes when you need to change quickly, you have to go through a couple menu options. And so they have both of the access points on this, the buttons, the hard buttons where you can switch or save to a memory bank, and then also the touch screen. So whatever speaks better to you. I also love that you can record with this and have it on sheet music right away. Just a very cool instrument. We did a video on the 805 where you can check out some more in-depth features, but we did want to show you guys the comparison between these two today, and a lot to do with the sound. There are more voices. There's about 500 more voices on the new CVP805. There's more styles, and there's more elements where you can change the drum sets. I know they did a real recording of drums on it.
Yeah, 15 brand new drum sets. And that's one thing that, again, I told you that I personally believe that when they went to touchscreen, that is the one thing that almost relaunched this instrument into a whole brand new market. And the market that they picked up was a much younger market that likes to put their own beats, their own drum tracks, their own everything together. And this is a self-contained, musical dream studio. And having those new drum sets, which are actual samples, they sound like a programmable drum machine, which is kind of really what it is.
It's very cool. So without further ado, I think we're going to play these and let you guys hear the differences between them. I'm really excited to hear Ted play, so let's check it out. Wow, Ted, that sounded amazing. I really enjoyed listening to especially those drum samples. They were very different on the two.
It was fun to do some different drums on it, and you can hear the difference between the two.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And so, who might this piano be for? I think is something that I wanted to address. Some people think this is a lot of money. Is it worth it? Am I going to be using all this technology in it? And I would say, if you have kids, if you're someone who's interested in what recording music can be, if you're interested in having access to any instrument, this is for you. If you're a teacher, this is for you. If you're a choir teacher,
It could be the perfect thing for a family. Don't forget all the karaoke features. And the karaoke has been real popular in the last six months, and karaoke has just grown and grown. So you still have that here. I mean, you can still do the karaoke, you can still create, and not just families, but there are professional music guys. Alan Menken's one of them. This is what he does all his Disney scores on the Clavinova. That was his go-to thing for scoring and everything else. There's also, the private instructors, the collegiate instructor, and all the people that want to put songs together. So I think from professional to very beginning, if you had a couple of 4 to 6, 7-year-olds in a house, and hey man, I got 10, 12, maybe 15 years before these kids grow up and get out of the house. If they use half the features on this thing, they'll be phenomenal musicians. They'll be ready to teach and instruct. They'll be able to show people how to put music together before they've ever even had a formalized class.
it's really interesting because of the musical education and how it can be so different for you if you're playing just an acoustic piano, reading sheet music, taking from a teacher, which are excellent, excellent things to invest into your children or into yourself. But then you had something like this with technology, and it opens the door for sound recording and opens the door for creation, like you were saying. And it really kind of broadens your horizons.
Well, it gives, anyone can easily figure out after looking at one of these, you watch it, how it scores it makes a MIDI file out of your own piano playing. It leads you to the next step, which is cut and paste, which is put a song together just like on a computer by cut and paste with analog or digital sound files. And that is kind of like a new technological way of looking at how to break music down into really small components that used to take years to teach. Now it's just instant.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like the ultimate shortcut, but it's really helping you out a lot. The technology moves you up levels.
And that brings me back to one of the actual upgrades in this one is the Chord Looper, and that gives you access to really put something down as part A, put something down as part B, and something as part C. Maybe that's verse, chorus, bridge, and you're able to go back over and write lead parts or add violin or add bass, drums, really whatever you want to do with this, you can do. And if you get it in the hands to a kid kids are super creative.
Oh, that's really neat.
You put them in front of a piece of technology, they figure out things that you didn't even know it could do. This is one of those things. There's menu options in here that I've been around these for 10 plus years. I haven't even gone through all the menu options because it's so in-depth. There's so much that you can do, and it just keeps drawing you back towards it. Whereas if a kid is maybe not as interested in just learning piano, there's hundreds of guitar parts in here. There's hundreds of guitar recordings. It's just a lot of fun. And also on this 805, there's the Smart Pianist app capability. So,
yes.
So we were talking about the CLP, the CVP, and the CSP. The CSP is the most recent addition into that family. The CSP is the Smart Pianist, so Clavinova Smart Pianist. So that's what the S stands for. They have an app. It's called the Smart Pianist app. You can plug in your Clavinova to it, and it actually can convert audio to score. So that might sound super complicated, but if you own an audio file and you write it and it goes, there's a G scale, and then there's a C scale, and then an A scale, it will convert all that audio to MIDI or to a score. And so it's really kind of interesting the way that's where technology has taken us.
What's neat about that is a lot of piano players or keyboard players or someone that would have this instrument or want this instrument, a lot of times get asked to arrange or make a score sheet or do something for a church song someone made up. Or here's a guy around the campfire with his guitar singing. You can take that and actually use that to create a chord chart and a score for that guy's song without ever having to sit down and find the notes.
It's amazing. And that comes free with this. You download the app. It's really incredible. I've used it, and I would say It's not 100% perfect, but I would say close, 85%. It hits it right on the head. It says this is a C chord in this part. And it's estimating what these chords are because it's listening to the music and it's going through whatever algorithm it goes through, and it identifies that this is that tune, this is that one. And so you can learn how to play some of your favorite songs or songs you've recorded. You have to own the audio file. That's the one thing. You're not going to be able to stream music into this. But if you own the audio file, you can convert it for your own use in that score. So just really cool. Again, this is the CVP805. We were comparing it against the CVP705, the older model. This one was in production for 5 or 6 years. Really an amazing instrument. The 805 builds on that. Thank you guys again for watching. We're Alamo Music Center. This is Ted Barcelo. I'm Patrick Marr. Again, if you haven't, check out our other YouTube videos, our other channels. We love to hear from you guys, so love to leave comments or anything that you guys want to see on this channel. We'd love to do it.